Hello everybody and welcome to WOR Console Tier 5 Round 6 here at Zandvoort. I'm your commentator Harrison, and today hopefully I can treat you to some enthralling action here in the rolling hills of Zandvoort. Obviously the Dutch Grand Prix circuit, synonymous with most. It's one of the more classic tracks on the calendar. Grass and gravel surrounds the track, so any mistake is likely to be severely punished. Circuit's also famous for its banked corners here. Bank turn 3, slight bank on turn 1, and the very famous banked final corner, completely flat out, even in the wet conditions, I believe. 13 of us in here tonight. So plenty of drivers to give us some entertaining action over the next hour and a half, as we will be having a short quali and then a 50% race over 36 laps. It has just been announced in real life that Zandvoort only has 2 more races to go on its tenure. The promoters not having the funds to continue after 2026. So let's make the most of it tonight. You may not get many more years of this. Hopefully all of you that is watching have had a good day. And hopefully this can make it even better. I think we might be waiting for a few more people to possibly join, and then we can get going soon. There we go, there is the green light. See, this is a track which is susceptible to rain. It's not in a desert. It's not anywhere where you'd be able to explicitly say, yeah, there's going to be no rain. So expect the unexpected. $18 ahead of the drivers then, and there we go. What did I say? Intermediates, possibly, although they are all on softs. They have to get out quickly if they're to set a time on those softs, as this could very much be a one-shot qualifying if the rain sticks around. Or if it's already too wet for slicks, which I think it is personally. Could be getting constant action. Well, I do see them heading out on the slicks. They are going to brave it out. A few opting for the inters though. So it clearly is right on edge. We'll go on board with Morgay in the kick. First driver out onto a rather slippery Zandvoort circuit. First traipse through these conditions. No reference markers, no idea where the grip is, where the grip isn't, more importantly. You can see he slid off the track on his outlap. Clearly it's very wet out there. We'll see if he bails at the end of this one as he drifts through drifts through that corner. I need to get a track map up. I don't know what the corner numbers are. Drifting again into the... I'll call it a little stadium section for now. Because it is a little stadium section. There's no way that he continues with this lap, surely. Surely he's going to bail in. And he does. Although, who's that going round? That was a Red Bull, I think. Alex Muja is going to brave this out. It's so slippy out there. And he's spinning it through turn 3. Through the sand dunes. Yes, they were once sand dunes. Dark right, that corner is normally flat out, but my goodness me. It's far from it now. I'm not going to be able to pronounce those corner names, so we'll just call them by the numbers. It was down the back straight. I think DRS is disabled, which is a good indication that it is too wet. Through the tricky slow sections of 11 and 12 towards the final proper corner of turn 13. But that banking is going to be ever more slippy. Kept it absolutely pinned though, with full commitment from the Red Bull driver. 1:19.2. So about 10 seconds off your standard dry pace. As Flavio fails to beat that on the inters. It must be right on the crossover between slicks and inters. It's annoying. It's the very annoying condition where I think inters are probably... No, the slick tires are probably faster. But it's so on edge. Has it stopped raining? No, it has definitely not stopped raining. We'll go on board the Mercedes of Pedro. Definitely not flat out through turn 7 as he nearly runs off the road. Backs out of that one. These drivers are going to be in real trouble here if they can't get their early laps in. Who else is on of that? Ferrari's just starting a lap rather. As Dornax goes 1 second clear at the top, still on the slick tyre. But it's not quite wet enough for it, I don't think. But it's just teetering on that dry point for slicks. So someone is going to surely chuck it in the wall at some point if they're not careful. They'll be lucky to know that there's no red flags in this game at the moment, at least in qualifying. Because in real life there'll be a fair few of them. Kept it on the road so far though. So we will get a representative lap time. There you go. Maybe the inters are quicker. Morgay goes top by... Well, is that nearly 3 seconds? 2.5 seconds Morgay's gone top by. So I think the inters are faster. As Saladinese now beats that time. The only corner that I can know the name of is turn 1, which is Tarzan corner. The rest we'll just use the numbers for. But all of these drivers who have gone out on the slicks initially, and Alex Linares, who's on his outlap at the moment, that I highly recommend to go in for inters. They'll all be going on to that green marked tyre because it is just faster. The Williams now goes top with a 1:15.7. Alex is going to stick with this, so we'll stick with him, see how he does. I just think surely the track is far too wet now. I don't know what a good sector time is, so we'll just have to try and eyeball it at 27.1. I don't know if anyone else goes through the first sector. We'll compare it to Moorgate. With 27.1 versus a 26.0, so he's 1.1 up. So Alex really needs to bail here. This is not the right tyre to be on. I think he knows it. He's turned off his ERS. We'll see if he boxes at the end of this lap. Yes, he does. Just about cuts in front of that car there. Who is towards the end of their lap now? Moorgate, who is 2 tenths up. This should put him fastest. And does so with a 1:15.3. And these times are just going to get faster and faster as these drivers gain confidence. Because as long as they fueled for multiple runs, which they should have, it'll be a push lap, cool down lap, push lap, cool down lap. They'll be able to do alternating fast laps, which is just, that is what you want in the wet conditions, because even if you come in now and put on a new set of inters, you have to regain your confidence in the car. It can be difficult to find, even though it's the same tyre. Next across the line will be Dragonka in the Williams. Can he retake that top spot? No. Keeps his position, improves his time, but not his position. Next across the line will be Morhay again, who will be starting another push lap. So we'll go to Saladinese and OP, who are practically inside one another. That'll be causing some distractions on their laps, so they might want to sort each other out. Alex is on the slick tyres and has gone off the track. I don't know why a few of these drivers are still out here on slicks, because you can clearly see that it's not working. Dornax takes back that P1. This is the beauty of a wet qualifying, is that the times will just continue to tumble. A driver who is P13 can go up to P1 and be back down to P13 all within the space of a few minutes, depending on the track conditions. Looks like OP's been off the road and going for a Spinala, nearly hitting the wall. Surely you bail out of this. You've got to come in and put inters on. Here's another spin through turn 9. Now we're talking to Saladinese, 6 tenths up already going into the final sector. This should put him top. Can we break into the 114s? Yes, we will. 114.9 from the McLaren driver. First to break into that 114 barrier. I believe The Ferrari with Spindez will be next across the line. Goes up to P5 with a 1:15.6. 7/10 off the outright pace, but definitely better than his rather lowly grid spot. Alex Anara has yet to set a time. One of two drivers yet to set a time will be next up. Where can he drag that Mercedes up to? His teammate is in P9 at the moment. So can he at least go ahead of him? Yes, he definitely does. P2 for the Mercedes driver, first lap on those intermediates. And he could be favourite for pole. If that's his first lap, all of these drivers should be fearful, because you'll gain roughly a second from experience on your second lap. We'll see what he can do. Betsky is the only driver, therefore, now to not have a representative time. What can the Haas driver do? He rounds the final banked corner completely flat out, up towards the line. The 1:15.0 displaces Alex, goes to P2, just 1/10 off the pace set by Saladanese, who I think has come in for a new set of intermediates. Next up will be Alex Anara in the pits. I don't think his teammates on a lap. A lot of these drivers will be coming into the pits to prepare for their final runs. It will be Alex next across the line, currently rooted at the foot of the table, 4 seconds off the pace. Big improvement needed here. What can he do? Wow. Last the first challenge completed for the Red Bull driver. P13 to P1. Displaces Saladanese by 24 1,000ths of a second. Which means that if Maffeo can find a big improvement, the entire field will be separated by less than 2 seconds. Which, in a intermediate qualifying session, as Morgay goes 5/10 clear, wow, is pretty good going. And if I were in these drivers' shoes, I'd be going out about now. I'd be wanting to do more than one lap on these new intermediates, just so I could gain some confidence. Do a lap without ERS on, and then turn it on and go for the big one. Tommaso next to come across the line in the Haas. Goes up to P9, finds over a second, but only moves up a few places. Maffeo will be well off the pace with that time. I think he's going again. Does still find an improvement, but a lot more is needed from the kick driver. It's currently a kick sandwich at the moment, as we will swap to... We'll swap to him. We'll swap to... Well, someone is on a lap if I can find them. There we go, OP. What can OP do? Currently P12, 6/10 off the nearest car. I haven't seen the sector splits. What's the time going to be? Finds 8/10, goes up to P10. That gap between P8 and P11, less than a 10th. As Maffeo's had a spin, unfortunately. So it looks like an improvement is getting less and less likely. So we'll go to Dornax, as he will be starting his final run of the session. A driver who has briefly led the pack at various points in this session, but currently resides P7. Shows just how quickly this track is evolving and how drivers' confidence can affect the times. What can the Alpine driver do? He's got the distraction of an Aston Martin ahead of him who does get out of the way. Yellow flag, don't know what that's for. I might be for Maffeo. Round turn 9 into turn 10. I hate turn 10 so much. The rear just wants to get away from you as you put the power down, especially in these greasy conditions. What's the split time going to be saying? Only just less than a tenth up. It's not enough. It's nowhere near enough for Dornax at the moment. At the moment, it's not looking like it's going to be much of an improvement. Maybe up to P6. Has he found anything in the final sector? He goes up to P5, finds a couple tenths, but really needed more than that. Morhay just about crosses the line to start his final lap. Jagonka did not improve, so Morhay is safe for now. What can Spindes do? He's off the pace. Way off the pace. Saladinese, your earlier leader, I don't think he's done a lap since then. Can he put it back on provisional pole? No, he can't. Nearly 4 tenths off the pace at the flag. Maybe he took the wrong approach. Alex Anaras goes P5. Was that a Red Bull? Red Bull's finished. Not a lot of drivers improving here. Perhaps suggesting that you do need a couple laps just to get your tyres back in the window. Can Morhay improve on his own time? I don't think so. I think he's had a mistake on this lap and he comes into the pits. Haas isn't pushing and Diamond is invalidated, so that is your final order here in Zandvoort. Morhay takes pole position by just over a tenth from Gonka. I'm going to butcher these names so hard. Betsky takes P3 of the Haas. Saladinese, who led early on, takes P4. The two Mercedes, Alex and Pedro, P5 and P6. The second Alex in the Red Bull, P7. Dornax, P8. And then I'll get the rest of the order when it comes up. Because I can't read quickly enough. Yeah, Dornax P8, Spindes P9, OP P10, who is one of the ones experimenting with the slick tyres for much of that session. Diamond Miner P11, Tommaso in the second has P12, and Maffeo, who will be deeply disappointed, rounds out the grid in P13, over 3.5 seconds off the pace. So if you take out Maffeo to have everyone within 1.1 seconds, that is very, very close indeed. I believe we will now have a lobby restart before we go into the main event. 36 laps here at Zandvoort. And then we should be able to get going shortly. This is not the race start. As you see, drivers have jumped the start, so if it was the real race start, it would be absolute chaos and I wouldn't know what to say. Unfortunately for the drivers, it isn't. During this interval, I'm going to take a short break a minute and I'll be back with you soon for the race start. Welcome back to WOR Season 19 Console Tier 5 Round 6 here at Zandvoort. We've just had our short qualifying session here where the kick driver of Morhay took pole position in a Inters qualifying session. Perhaps right on the borderline between intermediate and dry, but eventually the intermediate tyre prevailed. We're now just setting up everything for the main race, making sure all the drivers are back in the lobby, and then we can get going for you. In this little segment, I like to do a bit of a, well, I call it the history segment, there's my coin term. And thankfully Zandvoort does have some history to it, so here goes. See, the recent history of the circuit, it's only been on the calendar since 2021. Has been dominated by Max Verstappen and Red Bull. But it was on the calendar beforehand, from the inauguration of the championship in the 1950s up until 1985, I believe. The previous winners, obviously Max Verstappen recently, likes of Alain Prost, Niki Lauda, Jim Clark is your most successful driver with 4 race wins. But there's been a plethora of drivers who have won the Dutch Grand Prix over the years. And we've got 2 more to go in real life. I wonder if Max can get the Orange Army on their feet one more time. Considering that the Netherlands is the flattest country in the world, this circuit has perhaps some of the more undulation of any track on the calendar. I'm not sure what the exact figure is, but you can tell just by watching a lap that there's a lot of elevation changes here up and down the sand dunes, because it is effectively built on a beach. It's right on the coastline, right where the sand dunes would have been. And there's not just elevation in the sense of up and down, banked elevation as well, as I'm sure you are all aware. Of course, that banking is a lot steeper in real life than it appears, as you'll often see teams rolling things down it, just to prove how steep it is. We shouldn't be too far away from a start now. I believe every driver is in the lobby, unless there's any late joiners. Say an early favourite, probably Morhay, who qualified on pole. But then again, your driver's pace is very different depending on conditions. You could be like me, you're a bit of an intermediate tyre specialist. When it comes to the dry tyres, might not quite have the edge to keep that P1. And I don't think anyone enjoys the full wet conditions. If they say they do, they're lying. Because the car just becomes undrivable and just slides around everywhere the second you try and brake or put any sort of steering lock into the car. The turn 1 here is a very short run to turn 1 compared to other circuits. Very wide turn 1, it's got some slight banking to it, which can lead to multiple lines being taken. It also means you can pull off a move around the outside at turn 1 if you so wish. I hope we see a few of them today, because they require a lot of skill to pull off, but they certainly can be done. And I'm sure these Tier 5 drivers will prove to me and to all of you watching. We'll see what the weather has to offer. Because there was intermediate conditions in qualifying, and Zandvoort is susceptible to a bit of an ocean shower. We'll see if that rain rears itself again. Certainly would make for a rather chaotic afternoon. Fortunately for the drivers, it looks to be a dry start at least. Don't know what the weather's saying for the rest of the race, but hopefully there is a bit of mixed conditions in there to spice things up a little. The drivers now have a little bit of time to put their setups on, get their strategies ready, and then we'll be underway for the round 6 Dutch Grand Prix here in WOR Season 19. Hopefully these console Tier 5 drivers can put on a show. Oh, look at all those people up there by the F1 Paddock Club banner going crazy. They know what's about to happen. Can you predict what's about to happen? Get your predictions in now and we'll see what happens by the end of this one. Can Morhay hold on to his pole position? Will someone come through the field to steal an ecstatic victory? All will be revealed. Hopefully they're starting soon, given it all this build up, and now we're just sat waiting on edge. Should be going any minute now. We're just seeing the announcement. Not long left to wait. Five lights are on. Lights out and away we go. Morhay looks like he's held on to his advantage into turn one as Betsky tries to go around the outside of the Williams. Does so successfully. What a move. I told you it would be pulled off. As they plunge down into turn three. Massive banking here. Variety of lines can be taken. All made it through cleanly. They'll get the tyres up. Plunge through the right hand corner of turn 7. Obviously they're on a near enough full tank of fuel at the start of here. Start of the race, as that is a Mercedes slightly wide. A lot of these corners that were flat out in qualifying, definitely not going to be flat out now. We're already near the end of the first lap. Forget how short the lap is here at Zandvoort, although there are 36 of them. 36 laps of crazy fun to come here, crazy close racing. As we come around to finish the first one of them, Betsky goes for the move down into turn 1. Gets the move done before the braking zone. Every driver, apart from Betsky, Alex Linares and Spindez, starting on the mediums. And the former 3 that I just spoke about, they're going more aggressive on their first stint, so they'll be hoping to pull away, make up those places before they themselves swap over to that medium tyre. We'll be expecting them in earlier than everyone else. We haven't quite stayed together as a 13-man DRS train. The top 8 are one group and the from 9 to P13 is another. But that doesn't mean that's going to detract from any of the hopeful overtaking we can get. Of course, with DRS trains, you know how they work. The car in front of you has DRS. You also have DRS. So it kind of negates the effect of the system as Alex Linares moves up into P3 on those soft tyres. That is OP. OP in the background, gone off the track on the medium tyres. I don't know if he overshot his braking zone, but he's got damage on that left-hand side. Maybe had a collision with another car. And I think that's for the second race running. He's been involved in an early incident. Back up front though, Morgay continues to lead after re-swapping the place with Betsky. Beautiful shots from the helicopter here down the back straight towards turn 11. The 11 and 12 mini stadium section. I'm sure the Mexican fans won't be mad at me for that. Around the banking now, NASCAR style. Onto the main straight here, the main overtaking spot, of course, here in Zandvoort. As Morgay nearly loses 2 places there to both Betsky and Alex Linares. As Flavio pits to retire. Our first retiree from this race on lap 4. It's not been his race today. Look at this, Saladinese all over the back of Alex Linares. That's pushing him through there as ooh, very close there through turn 7. You don't often see moves there. By the time they come out of turn 10, he's still got DRS. Completes the move. Fair play. You have to be bold here to make moves sometimes, and certainly was very bold then. Pulled it off nicely, very cleanly, which is the important thing. Most importantly, he's kept within DRS, so he hasn't even lost time doing it. Betsky sets the new fastest lap of the race at 1:11.3. If we look further back in the pack, you'll see that they're all reasonably close together, some closer than others. All within striking distance of the car ahead, which is what we like to see. They are nearly flat through turn 7. Some of these drivers got to be careful here that they don't drop out of DRS. Dragonka hovering around that 9/10 mark. Only takes a little mistake, one little oversteer moment, one understeer moment. Find yourself in a whole heap of trouble when it comes to getting that DRS. We'll go on board with the kick. We head round the banking onto the main straight for the 6th time. It'll be an easy pass for the kick driver. Alex Linares sets the new fastest lap. Those soft tyres still holding up. Haven't reached that drop-off point yet. Beautiful camera shots here. Just the, well, it's like a roller coaster. That's how it's been described by drivers in the past, and I have to agree with them. A roller coaster of a circuit, up, down, left, right, nearly upside down through some of these bank corners. It's got it all. We'll have a look further down the pack here towards this second group, who are a bit more spread out. Spindez trying to bridge that gap to the top 8, but I don't think his soft tyres will quite have enough grip to get him there. Unfortunate for drivers like Tommaso, who I'm sure would like to be higher up, where his teammate is currently in P2. But that's the unfortunate reward you get when you qualify so low down in the pack. The McLaren pushing the Haas through turn 3 there. I'm sure we'll see 1 or 2 turn 3 dives as we get more into this one. The drivers suss out their opponents, they work out where their lines are, where they can perhaps send a move. Whereas now they're just settling into their stints. In some cases trying to preserve their tyres, in some cases trying to push like the wind. In some cases doing a very good job at saving your ERS. Others not so. That'll be evident as we come down this pitch straight now, as Morhay puts up little defence. And all these drivers at the moment, they're just looking to work together. Going for a risky move at this stage, 8 laps in, not worth it. Because if you break this DRS train and you lose that DRS, you're basically, unless there's a safety car, you've ruined your chances of going for victory here or a podium. Speaking of risky moves, that's the Mercedes round. Mercedes of Pedro just got tapped there. No, it wasn't, it was Alex. Alex Linares just got tapped round there, I believe by Saladinese. All that work he's done on the soft tyres unfortunately come undone for the Mercedes driver. Yes, he's kept hold of this DRS train, but he has an awful lot of work to do now to get back to that P3 position. Maybe a steward's inquiry into that one. Sweeping through the sand dunes. That was flat out from the Red Bull driver through turn 7. First time I've seen that this race. Alex being the only driver so far to have picked up a track limit penalty, and that is going backwards, and that is into the wall. Just about to say that he might still be in this one, but that is a critical error from the Red Bull driver. And I believe the Haas has had a spin in sympathy. I don't think rear wing damage is on, thankfully for Alex, but that's his chances of a good result over, I'm afraid, unless there is a safety car. Oh, that's the kick on leader Morhay. Oversteer out of turn 3. So very nearly loses it into the wall. Down to P5. You've got to regain his composure. A lot of these drivers are struggling with these rear tyres now, 10 laps into this Dutch Grand Prix. What is going on? We've had Alex go round, we've had Tommaso go round, we've had the other Alex be involved in an incident. And now our leader, or ex-leader, Morhay, who started on pole, having a rare mistake here and has all of the work to do. Brilliant news for Saladinese, who will now go for the lead to overtake Betsky. In that McLaren, can he do what Lando Norris did this year and somehow find a way to break that DRS? Perhaps get lucky with a cheeky dive bomb from behind? Could he find a way to drive off into the distance? This top 8 group has been split Alex Linares' soft tyres perhaps just falling off a bit. He has lost that 1 second gap to Morhay. The field spread starts to come into effect. I believe he has damage as well. Yeah, damage on the left hand end plate. Not sure where he's picked that up from. Pushing Alex through there was Dornax in the Alpine, saying to him, get a move on, I'm quicker than you. We need to break, we need to get to this DRS. Itching to get by the Mercedes, as he will be the first of our drivers to box. Will he go for a front wing change, I wonder? Yes, he will, and that is onto the hard tyres. So perhaps an earlier stop than planned. He'll be having to push rather hard to try and make up that time for the front wing change and remain competitive in this one. Not sure how long these soft runners will stay out. Maybe 3, 4, 5 more laps before they'll pit for their mediums. And then the medium runners, maybe 3, 4, 5 laps more than that. We'll soon find out though. Lap 12 here at Zandvoort. Saladinese is your race leader after starting Well, I can't remember where he started. I don't think he started in the front, so he's had a very good run through the field as these drivers continue to swap down the pit straight. Bexkey is P2 on the alternate strategy from softs and mediums. Pedro Breton is in P3 in the other Mercedes after his teammate Alex Linares caught up in some unfortunate incidents. Dragonka P4, there is a yellow flag down at turn 1. Dragonka P4 after starting on the front row. And Morhay, a few laps ago, a rare mistake from the kick driver. Oversteer out of turn 3, very nearly went round entirely, but currently resides in P5. Back to the action. And it seems to have calmed down a bit at the front. Didn't swap round last lap. We'll probably swap round this lap, but just a bit of calm in the waters as they all prepare for their stops, as Betsky does just that. Oh, don't get us pit lane speeding penalty. It's a very slow pit lane here, 36 miles an hour only. Most of 50. That might catch out some of these drivers. He does come in for the mediums. Could Alex Linares have gone for those mediums as well? Will those mediums go 22 laps? We will soon find out as Alex boxes for the hards. I believe Alex started on the mediums. Yeah, he must have started on the mediums, so that's a very early stop. Do a quick check of my race director just to confirm that. Yep, Alex did start on the mediums. Alex in the Red Bull, that is. So maybe a stop for damage for the Red Bull driver, but maybe that wasn't planned. As we are seeing some of these medium runners already coming in. We're going to get a real mixture of strategies here, folks. Mediums to hards, mediums to soft, soft to medium, soft to hard. Every combination under the sun you could ask for will be happening here today. That is Morhay. Goodness me. How has he ended up there on the inside of turn 7? cannot get much closer than that. Great racing between the two. But with all this battling, look who's pulled away. Look what he's done. What did I say earlier? You just need an unfortunate lunge, a bit of battling behind you. And these drivers, they have the pace to just pull away. And he's done just that. 1.6 seconds the gap now. Saladinese will come into the pits. Jagonka will continue on. Oh, he's picked up a pit lane speeding penalty. I told you it would catch someone out. And of all the people that could have caught out, it's caught out our provisional race leader, Saladinese. And what was looking like such a good situation for the McLaren driver. In the space of 3 seconds has come completely crashing down. 10-second pit lane speeding penalty. That very well may be the difference from P1 and P8 here in Tier 5. What an error for the McLaren driver when victory was potentially already partly in his hands. So we'll see what he can do about it. It's happened now. Got to work around it. Just got to accept that what's happened's happened and try and make the most out of the situation. As out front, Jagonka continues on those medium tyres. Will he be the one to potentially try, along with Diamond Miner, along with Tommaso, could they try the medium soft? Because Betsky and Spindez, I believe, but I don't know what tyres Spindez started on. Spindez started on the soft, so he's also done a soft medium. A few drivers doing the soft medium here, or a variation of, but a 50-50 split between a soft medium and a soft hard, or vice versa, or medium hard rather. It's a nice change. Usually these races are literally everyone does exactly the same strategy or the alternate of it. Very rare you'll see two completely different strategies in a competitive environment like this one. We've just crossed half distance, and Jagonka and Diamond Miner, unless he pits this lap, which he doesn't, Jagonka, Diamond Miner and Tommaso still stay out. The Diamond Miner and Tommaso perhaps further towards the back of the grid, but that strategy could come in very handy later on. Especially if there's a safety car now. If there's a safety car now, those guys are quids in. I haven't seen as many errors in terms of rears overheating yet. But then again, a lot of these drivers are on tyres that are only a few laps old. But then we're looking to try and minimise those overheating issues compared to the first stint, because we did see an awful lot of them. Cost a couple of drivers dear. Pedro goes past Saladinese into turn one. Very easy move for the Mercedes driver. Over the pit stop phase, it has massively broken up this top five. Only really Pedro and Saladinese who are now together. Betsky is your net race. Let me try that again. Betsky is your net race leader, as he is the first of the drivers to have boxed. Went for the audacious soft to medium strategy. We'll see if it pulls off for him. Pays off, rather. He is 3 seconds ahead of Pedro, who is with Salah Deniz, but has a 10-second pit lane speeding penalty. As Jagonka finally comes into the pits. This should be for soft tyres. And is. So we'll have to watch his pace with a keen eye. Should be setting faster slaps. Morhay is a net P3 because of that penalty that Salah Deniz has got. So if I get up the gap to the leader, Salah Deniz is currently 3.3 behind. If we go 10 seconds, as Alex in the Rebel retired in the pit lane, our second retirement. 3.2 seconds, so 13.2 seconds. Puts him down to P7. That is the cost of perhaps going 1 mile an hour over the speed limit. P2 becomes P7. Here, as these drivers are just so close to one another. In other leagues, you may find that a 10-second penalty, you might still be able to win the race, but not here, you don't. 10 seconds will cost you maybe even points at all in the higher tiers, especially. Once again, they swap round into turn 1. The old switcheroo. Except it's not your usual just going down the inside of someone. It's when you constantly swap every single lap. A lot of these drivers have now fallen away from the DRS of the car ahead. But there are still a couple of battles on track that we can watch. Namely, the battle for P6 between Diamond Miner, who I must say is doing a brilliant job of holding on to this P6 at the moment, even if it be because of the fact that he's not boxed yet. Surely he's got to come in soon, right? And he does come in this lap. So does Tommaso. So that is everyone now boxed. The order that you see on your screen is the true order. And they'll be racing through to the end. I don't believe there's any signs of rain. Can't see any dark skies. This will be a straight race through to the end. And quite frankly, unless anything extraordinary happens, I don't see Betsy losing this one. The mediums are holding up nicely. His pace is good. He's pulling away from Salah Deniz, who has a 10-second time penalty. All is good in the world of the Haas driver. Unlike the McLaren, who will rue that mistake for a good few races to come, I'd imagine. The battle for P4 on those fresh soft tyres. Jagonka sets new fastest lap, 1:10.6. Down the inside of our pole sitter Morhay, up into P4, net P3. How much further up can he get? How quickly can he bridge that 3.5 second gap? I'd say there's at least a P2 on here for the Williams driver. Depends how quickly those soft tyres fall off. Could he go on and win it? these drivers will need to start being strategic with how they're battling now. Try not to lose as much time as possible to the quick driving Williams on the brand new softs, and try if they can to block him or do anything to try and stop him from going past. Lap 24 here at the Dutch Grand Prix here in Zandvoort. WOR console tier 5. Betsky is your race leader. Starting on softs, going to mediums. The audacious, more aggressive strategy seems to be paying off for the Haas driver. P2 is Pedro in the Mercedes, who's had a very good race. I believe he started... Well, I'll check the race director. Where did he start? Pedro started P6, so to be P2, great drive. Saladinese, who on the road is P3, but in reality is more like P8 after picking up a 10-second pit lane speeding penalty. Jagonka is on the charge here, made up 1.8 seconds on that last lap. On the two ahead, he too has gone for that aggressive strategy of medium to soft and just the other way around. Morhay, the pole sitter, P5 after an earlier mistake. And then there's a bigger gap down to Dornax P6, Alex Linares P7, who's recovering from wing damage. Spindes P8, Maffio P9, and your two at the back who went very, very long on the mediums, Diamond Miner and Tommaso. And while Betsky controls the gap out front, gap of 4.1 seconds, Saladinese has that 10 seconds, so you don't have to worry about him. I'm sure he'll be well aware of the threat that is ever looming behind in the form of John Gonka. I'm going to pronounce that name differently every time. I apologise, but it's a bit difficult. Is that a yellow? Why is there a yellow? Not sure why there was a yellow there. It was a brief yellow. It's recovered now. The crucial thing for... Is it Joe Gonka? Joe Gonka. We'll call him Joe Gonka. The crucial thing for Joe Gonka now, he has to clear these two if he has any shot at that victory. Is that Saladinese? Saladinese! Oh my goodness me. Saladinese. That's a big crash on the exit of turn 7. Hard into the wall for the McLaren driver. Safety car deployed. This race has just been turned on its head. I'd imagine he went wide, just lost it on the exit. That is a big crash for the McLaren driver, who already had that 10-second penalty but now is out of the race. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. How the table turns again. Under safety car, Betsky, who had it all under control, picks up a 10-second pit lane speeding penalty of his own. What on earth is going on here in WOR console tier 5? We had Morhay lead, nearly lose the car. Saladinese lead, 10-second pit lane speeding penalty. Betsky looked so dominant, so in control, and he too falls foul of the pit lane speeding penalty under the safety car. My goodness me. Well, if you wanted a curveball in this race, if you were getting bored of it, I hope you stuck around. This is about to be a grandstand finish. We check the penalties. The only penalties is Betsky with his pit lane speeding penalty and Dornax with his track limits. Is the play here possibly to just come in and serve that penalty? What does Betsky do? That is, he's thrown the race away. We can safely say that. He is not going to win this race here in Zandvoort. But how can he rescue the situation? Can he rescue the situation at all? When this safety car comes in, I think it'll come in this lap. He's 7 laps left. I don't see this field spreading much at all. I think he'll be hard pressed here to finish in the top 7. As this safety car has thrown this race on its head. So Betsky is your race leader on track. Your net race leader, however, is Pedro, who, after watching the progress of John Gonka on those soft tyres and thinking that he'd be doomed to P3, now has a very valid shot at winning this race. As the great Murray Walker said, whatever could happen in F1 often does, and that is exactly what we have seen here today. We've still got 7 laps left. Anything could happen. Stay tuned. This is going to be an emphatic finish here. Betsky, when does Betsky choose to go? Does he go before turn 13? Does he go around the banking? Has to try and break away. Has to try and do anything to build a gap. He's not gone yet. Not gone yet. Gone now. Diamond Miner picks up a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. That might be looked at. Towards turn 1 we go. Side by side, 2 by 2. Can we all get through? Bit of argy-bargy. Oh, that Williams was very nearly round. And again. Diamond Miner picks up another 10-second penalty. I don't know if that's glitched. And Dornax picks up another track limit, so that is down the inside into turn 9 for the Mercedes. Can he pull it off as contact? No DRS on the first lap after a safety car. But there is no tyre advantage anymore. All strategy has gone out the window. It's near enough a 5-lapper. Push till the end. Push flat out. Extract all you can from the car. Betsky sets your new fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.5. Oh, pardon me. But again, if I pull up the gap, he is last at the moment, or second to last with Diamond Miner's penalties. But this means Betsky has nearly dominated the second half of this race. Will have nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. shows that you really have to be careful of your pit lane speed here. Hopefully he knew that it was a 37-mile-an-hour limit. That would be an unfortunate way to pick one up. As we are now a 8-car DRS train from Betsky in P1 down to Maffio in P8, the only car on the medium tyres. Maybe he didn't have another set of softs to go on to. Morhay sets new fastest lap, 1097. Bit of lag there as I don't know where he's come from, but he is now leading. Apologies if I've missed an overtake there, but I thought Pedro was P1. It's Morhay, after all the drama, starting on pole position, nearly throwing his entire race away. Is he now in prime position to pull off the comeback? And already these drivers now will be thinking about, where do I want to be when it comes to lap 35 here, the final lap. But ideally, I'd say you want to be in P2 on that last lap, because you're not going to be able to defend down the straight unless you have a full battery. Even then you might not be able to. All of these drivers, while they're on the track, yes, they're racing, yes, they're looking for where everyone else is, but they are planning 3, 4, 5 laps in the future. One, two, 5 laps to go here in Zandvoort. And, well, if you have not been here, if you've missed the first half or most of this race, where have you been? It's been a chaotic race, if I could say so myself. Beyond chaotic. We've had mistakes, we've had crashes, we've had various incidents, hundreds of overtakes, various swappings of positions, and now we're near the culmination here. Morhay is your current race leader. Betsky, while he is P2, I'll remind you, he has that 10-second time penalty for a pit lane speeding infringement. So he is not in this fight, he is racing purely for himself in an attempt to build a gap to the cars behind. We wind through the Dutch hills, flick right completely flat out where Saladin's had his crash. I think that was nearly flat out again through turn 8. Through the off-camber turn 10, the rear lights to get away from you here. Down the back straight with DRS, no ERS used, as you don't want to be super close into the mini stadium section. They're all stacked up here waiting to pounce. All Morhay has to do, be the first driver to cross the line after Betsky, or ideally ahead of Betsky. Contact's made! Contact was made! They all survive. I'm sure his race flashed before his eyes there, of this incident at turn 3, 24 laps ago. Roughly. As he very nearly went round again. If he'd gone round then, that would have just been the cherry on the top of chaos in this race. Oh my goodness me. Pedro has been involved in an incident. There's your cherry on top of chaos. Pedro, who was running a net P2, has been caught up in an incident at the mid part of the lap, and his race is now over in terms of competitive results. What is going on here? So we now have a top three, which consists of Morhay, who has no penalties, Betsky, who has a 10-second speeding penalty, and Dornax, who has a 2 track limits penalties, which means that your podium currently, believe it or not, is Morhay, followed by Jogonka, followed by Maffio on the medium tyres, who started last. I'll say that again. He started last, has run much of this race in the lower half of the field, is on the unfavourable tyre, and is now 1 lap away from a podium. What a result for the Kick team this could be. Final lap of the race here in Zandvoort. To 35 laps of chaos, it all comes down to this. The order you see them in now is not the order they will finish, but you could appreciate it nonetheless. Betsky will be trying all he can to build that 10-second gap, which currently he will finish this race P8. After all of this work. As, oh, what? Morhay's crashed. Morhay's crashed. Oh, it's a big crash. Morhay's out of the race. Morhay is out of the race after colliding with Diamond Miner. What is going on? An incident between someone. Maffio's off the road. Dornax has no wing. What the hell? What on earth? Betsky will come across the line to win. Five cars! 5 cars, there's more crashes, there's more crashes. I have no idea. I'm lost for words. I'll go through the finishing order as I see it. I have no idea what happened. What on earth? I'm speechless. I am speechless. That last lap, so much happened, I could not keep up with it. Just when I thought the chaos was over, everyone self-implodes. Your provisional winner, I'll read this out as it is, your provisional winner, after all that, is Jogonka, who wins by 0.036 seconds from Spindez in the Ferrari, who's come from nowhere. Pedro finishes P3 after spinning out of contention in the early laps. Or the late laps, rather. Betsky finishes P4, even with a 10-second time penalty. Dornax P5, Maffio P6, looked so on for a podium. Tommaso P7, Alex Linares P8, Diamond Miner P9. Morhay will be furious after there appeared to be an incident with Dornax. He's classified as your final finisher, 1 lap down in P10. He'll take the fastest lap. Your 3 DNFs, Salah Denise, who crashed, and Alex in the Red Bull and OP both retired in the pit lane. Oh my goodness me, and breathe. What on earth just happened there? That is by far the most chaotic race I have ever commentated on. Ho ho ho, what a race. Well, I hope that... Well, I hope the people...
Motor racing, haha.
certainly is Meta Kestrel. I don't know if you're one of the drivers, but... or if you were just watching. If you're watching, I hope you enjoyed that. My goodness gracious me.
No,
I know.
just spectating. It was a good watch for sure.
Yeah. Utterly ludicrous. Like, we had chaos throughout the race. We had various big mistakes from drivers. Yeah, let me just check a minute where we are at next week. I hope I managed to transpond that chaos over those last laps decently well. I couldn't keep up with all of it. There was just so much going on, but that was a joy to commentate. We're off to Hungary for next week's race, round 7 out of 10. After this, tensions will be high. Be sure to tune in for next week. You will not want to miss it. From all the drivers, goodbye. From myself, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Adios.